Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Welcome in once again to Full Time. So we're going to go all over the shop on this day, and I'm going to go with a topic that you could see there in the header. Who is the front runner for the Balon d'Or? Who is the front runner for the Balon d'Or here in February of 2020? It's not the ideal time to really have this discussion, but I figure let's have some fun because it's an interesting discussion. We'll talk about Manchester City in a little bit. Obviously, that's the big story, and I have some thoughts. But who is going to win the Balon d'Or? As we have known through the years, with one exception, it has been Cristiano Ronaldo. It has been Lionel Messi. Back and forth, those two having their moments, sitting there in the first or second row, I'm not sure, discussing all that is good and all the great deeds they have committed. We were just accustomed to seeing one of those two, but right now it is not going to be Lionel Messi, nor is it going to be Cristiano Ronaldo, or it shouldn't be. Both having good campaigns, but not at the level that we're accustomed to seeing from them. Ronaldo with 20 goals in 20 games in the Serie A. I had a little tiff there with Maurizio Sarri, but all is well, and they are the leaders in Italy as it stands. Not much in the Champions League. This could all change. Lionel Messi, the well-documented struggles of Barcelona will keep him down, even though he's put an honest effort in. It hasn't been a good Barcelona team. You really can't award him that, even though he is leading the league in Spain. So who do you give it? Who is the best player? Or who is the most valuable player right now? The Balon d'Or. Did I say this already? I don't like awards. I don't like individual awards in soccer, which makes discussing this even stranger. Giving individual awards in this sport doesn't make sense to me. And when we look at Liverpool, that's a big reason why I would say that, because this is the archetype team. This is what you want, the sum of the parts. That's what Liverpool does. It's not a team relying on a superstar, which we have seen in years past with Barcelona, Real Madrid, and now Juventus. Even though Juventus, again, they do spread it out a fair bit. So speaking of Liverpool, Major Virgil van Dijk, the guy who a lot of people, including myself, thought should win it. I picked him as a Premier League Player of the Year last year, and I got that right. But I get things right a lot, so I shouldn't be mentioning it to you all the time. Virgil van Dijk, he's put the times in. He's even scored some goals. He's been there every day. Premier League, Champions League. Sure, why not? Again, with Liverpool, this is nothing against Van Dijk. I look at that as a team. Everyone chips in to say, I think to be the best, to be the Balon d'Or, you have to be an offensive player most of the time. Maybe this is the exception. Maybe give it to a goalkeeper, Ter Stegen, Jan Oblak. I don't think so. Maybe we give it to one of these good, young, up-and-coming players that are ready to seek the mantle. Erling Haaland. If he keeps playing the way he has been playing, he's going to get it. He's going to get it. He's been unbelievable. By the way, Erling Haaland was not the top scorer in the Austrian league when he left Salzburg to come for Borussia Dortmund. Anyone want to guess who it is? Sean Weissman, Israeli striker for Wolfsberger. Sorry, I'm looking down because I don't watch the Austrian league. Sorry, I'd love to, but there's just not enough hours in the day. Kylian Mbappe seems like a guy scoring in the Champions League, scoring in Ligue 1. Maybe it's Kylian Mbappe. Right now, if you had to pick somebody, there is one clear choice. It's Robert Lewandowski, who is scoring at an incredible clip. I think leads the Bundesliga in scoring, leads Champions League in scoring. As I dig through the numbers, where are you, Lewandowski? I know I saw you there. He scored again this weekend for Bayern, 10 Champions League goals, and really tearing it apart there. And I think the way they look, I would give them the nod to be the best team. Or maybe a guy who scored even more goals, named excuse me, Chi. I'm a very good singer. Ciro Immobile, Ciro Immobile, Ciro Immobile, Ciro Immobile. Yes, Ciro Immobile. Remember him? Lazio beating Inter. Lazio right there with Juventus. You would say Ciro Immobile, he scored, but it was from a penalty, but he won the penalty. So it was his goal. 26 goals. He's averaging a goal every 77 minutes. Maybe give it to Ciro Immobile. I don't know, and that's why I don't like awards to individual players. Why did I talk about this all this time? Who cares? You care. People love individual awards. They just don't make any sense. Give it to Lewandowski. How's that? All right, I want to talk a little bit about the U.S. women's national team. Didn't get to talk about them as they qualified for the Olympics. Why they have to go through that process is beyond me. It's not good optics. They ripped through the CONCACAF region, 25 goals scored, none against, never threatened, but there they are. Made me think of what we look at the women's game, and the U.S. women internally are fighting for a bigger piece of the pie, as they should get. How big can it get as USA dominates the way they do? That's the problem. That's the problem with the women's game. And this is something that has to be resolved. I am anticipating the United States to go to Tokyo and rip through the competition and win the gold medal. I expect the United States to come back in 3 years' time and win another World Cup. And probably the way the pipeline's going, they're going to win another World Cup. I don't think they can be touched based on what I've seen in recent memory. And that's a big problem for women's soccer, football. They need a foil. They need someone to come up and get uppity and be their Hatfield and McCoys. That's the only thing I can think of at that point. They need the French. They need the Germans. They need the Swedes. They need the Brazilians. They need the Canadians. They need all of them to pick up. Somebody has to come up and be their foil, because if they keep ripping through teams, it's not going to resonate. I promise you. The women's sport will continue to grow, will continue to recede. So come on, rest of the world. The USA are doing their part. Somebody show us. Aga Hegerberg, come on, bring it. It's a dire situation. The U.S. are getting better and better. And, the only thing I can compare it to is the dream team of basketball. Remember, they were good, and then people kind of lost interest. And then I think Argentina beat the U.S. in basketball. I was like, oh, wait a minute. But that was still different because the dream team was a collection of the best NBA players. A lot of people don't know the women's game. If you do, you know who these players are. But let's fix that. Come on. I'm looking at you, Europe, UEFA. All right, let's talk about Man City really quickly. Obviously, the 2-year ban in effect from the Champions League for financial irregularities, serious breaches, as it was called. Cooking the books is my favorite expression. What did they do? They cooked the books. Can't do that. UEFA putting in financial fair play, and Man City, just walked right through it. They found a way with their sponsorship with Etihad Airlines to make the books come out level. Balance the books is another way to put it. Overstating sponsorships. And look, it's crazy money. Financial fair play. I just want to take my hat off to UEFA. UEFA said they were going to put financial fair play, and they are ruling with an iron fist. Because as you may know in the sports world, some people don't get off the hook. They say this is what's going to happen. It's going to happen. Now, I expect the Court of Arbitration to hear Man City's case. When I hear stuff that's 2 years or 4 years, I always imagine they always meet in the middle. So I think it's going to be a 1 year suspension when all is said and done. We shall see. It really is going to curtail. Manchester City has so much money with the Abu Dhabi royal family, and this is a problem, which is why I welcome financial fair play, because it's right now these clubs are owned by countries. They're owned by the first family of a country that has bottomless pockets. And I think you have to do it. I encourage them to have super teams. I like super teams, but don't get sneaky because you want it. I like what Manchester City have done. I enjoy watching them play. I like their coach. I like their players. This will stunt them. I don't. It'll be interesting to see how they come out this year, knowing this may be their last shot in maybe 2 years, maybe one. We'll all find out soon enough. But it's going to be a challenge for them. But I think there's going to be a rallying cry. Maybe they're that team like in Major League, that great baseball movie Major League, and they come out and they say, we got to win the whole thing. That's what we got to do. There's only one thing we got to do. Lou Brown. Used to be the manager of the Toledo Mud Hens. You may run like Hayes. So I think it will be the end of Pep Guardiola, certainly at that point. But, it's hard to get too sad for Manchester City. And the other thing is, can the Champions League live on without Manchester City? I'd say yes. It's been a weird year. Oh, my goodness, Sheffield United going to the Champions League. Did anyone stop and think that Sheffield United is going to the Champions League? Speaking of Champions League, it's back. The Champions League is back. And it's already going on too long. So I'm going to give you my predictions. Round of 16. Who are the 8 quarterfinalists going to be? Here we go. Liverpool will get by Atletico Madrid, but it's going to be very testing. I don't think Liverpool's going to win it this year. They're one of many teams that do not come into the round of 16 guns blazing, really flat in a game against the bottom of the table at Norwich, but haven't looked, it's hard to win every game. It's hard. You got to keep that momentum going, but I don't think they'll go by Atletico. I don't think they're going to win the whole thing, and I picked them in the past. I picked them the last 2 years. They made me look really good. So, Dortmund, Paris Saint-Germain, very intriguing. Dortmund are playing well. PSG, not so much. But I'm sticking with PSG. I thought they were going to go through and make a run at this tournament, at least the semifinals. Fascinating matchup, though, certainly. And injury issues, again, popping up for PSG. But I like them to come through. Atalanta, Valencia. Atalanta, they're going to qualify for the Champions League next year. They're 4th in Italy again. What a club. I love them. They're the plucky group that gets through. Napoli, Barcelona. I think Barcelona will run into some complications along the way, but not here. Juventus get by Lyon, and the big one, did I say? Leipzig will defeat Spurs. And the big one, Manchester City, Real Madrid. Again, I don't know. I think City will come out and respond. And Real Madrid's another team. They just can't get on a roll. Figure it out. So here you go. Here are your quarterfinalists. Liverpool, PSG, Atalanta, Leipzig, Bayern, Barcelona, Juventus, Manchester City. You got a nice group of 8. Wow, we covered a lot of ground. Please subscribe, tell a friend, and tell them to tell a friend, and leave some comments. I will talk to you here on Full Time.